All right, so today we're going to be diving into the world of platform businesses.
Yeah.
Those big names, like Airbnb,
Right.
Uber, even those dating apps that we all love to hate.
Yeah, they've changed everything.
They've changed how we live,
They really have.
how we work, how we
Right.
connect with each other. And today we're going way beyond just the headlines, to really figure out how these digital giants measure their own success.
Yeah, because it's a whole different ballgame compared to, traditional businesses.
Right.
We're not talking about factories or, inventory.
Right.
It's all about those interactions,
Yeah.
the connections that happen on these platforms.
And so to help us unpack all of this, we're diving into a chapter from Platform Revolution,
Great book.
which is all about, the metrics that matter most to these types of businesses.
Yeah, and believe me, it's way more complex than just looking at,
Right.
profit margins or something like that.
You know what? You're totally right.
Yeah.
And actually, the book starts off with this really interesting cautionary tale
Oh, I love this one.
about this platform called Branch Out.
Right.
And this platform, they were trying to be like the LinkedIn of Facebook,
Yeah.
which, on paper,
Sounds like a great idea.
it sounds brilliant, right?
Well, network.
Huge network.
Already built in.
Yeah.
Connect people with jobs.
They had so much hype, right?
It's the tons of hype.
They raised millions of dollars,
Millions.
attracted a ton of users,
Yeah.
and then
And they crashed and burned.
they crashed and burned.
They did.
Why?
Well, they got obsessed with user count.
Oh, interesting.
They were bragging about all these millions of signups,
Right?
but they forgot to ask this really crucial question.
What's that?
Are people actually using the platform to find jobs?
Ah, so it was like a vanity metric.
That's exactly what the book calls it.
Yeah,
Those numbers that look impressive,
right.
but don't actually tell you if you're creating real value.
Yeah, and Branch Out, they paid the price.
They did.
So what's the big lesson here for anyone, listening who's interested in platforms?
Well, don't chase empty numbers.
Okay.
You got to focus on those interactions,
Yeah.
the connections.
Right.
Because those are at the heart of any successful platform.
So true. And the book actually breaks this down into three distinct phases, right?
It does.
You've got the startup phase,
Uh-huh.
the growth phase, and then the maturity phase.
That's right. And each stage has its own unique set of challenges.
Of course.
And, of course, its own set of metrics that really matter.
So let's imagine, we're launching this brand new platform.
Okay.
Let's say it's an online marketplace for handmade goods.
I love it.
Right. We're in that startup phase,
Lots of energy.
full of excitement,
Uh-huh.
but also probably a little bit of terror.
Of course.
What are the things what are the metrics that should be keeping us up at night?
Well, the book really highlights these three core metrics
Okay.
that are absolutely crucial for any platform that's just getting off the ground.
Okay.
And those are liquidity,
Okay.
matching quality,
All right.
and trust.
Okay, so let's break those down a little bit.
Sure.
First up, liquidity.
Okay.
What does that even mean in the platform world?
Think of it like a really bustling farmer's market, right?
Okay.
You've got tons of vendors
Okay.
selling all their amazing goods.
Right.
You've got all these shoppers
Okay.
eager to buy. There's a real energy there.
Yeah,
That's what we mean by liquidity in a platform.
I see.
It's making sure there's enough activity
Okay.
to make it worthwhile for everyone involved.
So in our handmade marketplace example, high liquidity would mean
Yes.
we've got a good balance of sellers
Right.
who are listing, cool, unique products,
Wow.
and then enough buyers who are actually browsing and buying those products.
Exactly. If there are too few sellers or buyers,
Right.
the platform just feels like a ghost town.
Yeah.
Nobody wins.
And actually, low liquidity
Yes.
can be a death knell for a platform.
Especially in the early stages.
Especially in those early stages.
Yeah. Imagine you launch a ride-hailing app
Okay.
and there are only a handful of drivers available.
Right.
You're stuck waiting forever,
Yeah.
getting frustrated.
Yeah.
You're probably going to delete that app
Oh, for sure.
in a fit of rage.
Yeah.
It's all about creating that critical mass
Yeah.
of users that make the platform feel valuable and alive.
I like that.
Keep it lively.
Okay, so that's liquidity.
Yes.
Now, the second one was matching quality.
Matching quality, yes.
What's the secret sauce there?
It's all about minimizing what we call search costs for users.
Okay.
Think about, when you're shopping online,
Uh-huh.
you don't want to be wading through tons of irrelevant stuff.
Right.
You want the platform to get you
Yeah.
to what you need
Okay.
quickly.
It knows me.
Yeah, like a personal shopper who just gets you.
Yeah, exactly. So in our handmade marketplace example, that would mean our algorithm is like smart enough to connect those buyers
Right.
searching for hand-knitted scarves
Let's say.
with sellers who actually offer them.
Exactly. And the better the matching,
Right.
the more likely those interactions are going to turn into transactions,
Yeah.
which keeps the platform going.
And that's what we want.
That's what we want.
And then last, but certainly not least, for startups is trust.
Trust. Huge.
Huge, especially for platforms like I'm thinking Airbnb, where you're inviting strangers into your home.
High stakes.
High stakes.
Freelance platforms where you're entrusting, important projects to people.
Yeah.
It's paramount.
So how do platforms actually build that trust?
Well, they've got to implement certain strategies that signal safety, reliability to their users. It might be things like really carefully curating their listings, having a rigorous identity verification process.
Right, so you know who you're dealing with.
Exactly.
Okay.
Maybe offering secure payment systems.
Makes sense.
Or having really transparent review systems.
Yeah, so you can see what other people have experienced.
Exactly.
And I feel like, Airbnb has done a really good job with this.
Yeah.
They have that whole system for verifying hosts and guests. They encourage reviews from both sides. Yeah. They offer, guarantees, insurance.
They try to mitigate the risk as much as possible.
It's so different from Craigslist.
Oh, yeah.
Which has always been kind of more hands-off, right?
Yeah, much more hands-off.
And while that gives you, that freedom.
Yeah, there's freedom there.
And flexibility.
You're on your own.
But it also increases the risk of, scams or negative experiences.
Yeah, for sure.
Which ultimately, erodes trust, right? So to kind of sum up those startup metrics, nailing liquidity, matching quality, and trust is essential.
Absolutely crucial.
If you're trying to build a platform and have it be successful.
Laying the foundation?
Yeah. But, as we know,
it doesn't stop there.
The challenges don't stop there.
The challenges keep coming.
Once your platform starts gaining traction, you got to shift your focus to sustainable growth.
Exactly. And that's when the dynamics get really interesting.
And that's what we're going to be exploring next.
I can't wait.
I'm excited.
Me too.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about those essential startup metrics.
Right.
But now things are getting a little bit more serious, right? Our platform, it's taking off. We're attracting more users.
That's right.
But the challenges are changing too, right?
Yeah, now it's not just about getting people on the platform.
Right.
It's about building a real thriving ecosystem that keeps them engaged.
Right.
Keeps them coming back for more.
So how do you actually do that?
Well, that's where we need a whole new set of metrics to track our progress.
So what separates the platforms that actually make it through this phase from the ones that just, kind of fall behind?
Right. Well, one of the key things is maintaining a balanced ecosystem.
Okay.
We touched on this with the dating platforms.
Right.
But it's really a universal principle.
Okay.
You got to have that healthy balance between all the different sides of your platform.
So buyers and sellers.
Yeah, buyers and sellers.
Riders and drivers.
Riders and drivers.
Riders and drivers.
Content creators and consumers.
Whatever the dynamics are of your specific platform.
It's like a delicate dance, right?
It is. It really is.
If you have too many drivers on a ride-hailing app,
they're
all competing for fares.
All right, they're going to get frustrated.
They're going to get frustrated. They're going to leave.
And then if you don't have enough drivers, then the riders are left stranded.
Right, nobody's happy.
Nobody's happy.
It's a bad situation.
Yeah, and actually the book uses this example of Cupid.
Oh, yeah, the dating platform.
Which, they actually manage the ratio of men to women.
They do. It sounds a little bit manipulative.
Right.
But it's all about creating a healthy ecosystem.
And that makes sense.
It's about creating that win-win for all sides of the platform.
Yeah, and speaking of value, another really crucial metric in this growth phase is lifetime value, or LTV.
LTV, love it.
So what is that exactly?
Well, it's about looking beyond just that initial sign-up and understanding the long-term value that each user brings.
So it's not just about getting them in the door.
It's not just about acquisition.
Right.
It's about nurturing that relationship.
How do you measure that?
Well, you're looking at things like, are they actively using the platform? Are they spending money?
Are they contributing to the community?
Right, through reviews or content creation.
Exactly. Or even just spreading the word.
Word of mouth, that's the best.
The best.
And platforms track all of this, right?
Well, yeah, they track things like repeat purchases, content creation, user reviews, referral activity, all those little things that add up.
And they even use, like, algorithms.
Oh, sophisticated algorithms.
To, identify users that might be about to leave.
Yeah, we call it churn.
Churn.
It's not good.
That's good.
But if you can identify those users,
right,
you can try to, re-engage them.
Win them back.
Bring them back into the fold.
It's almost like a loyalty program, right?
It is a bit like a loyalty program.
You're keeping those users happy.
That's right.
Okay, so now, a metric that we talked about in the startup phase.
Yes.
But it becomes even more critical during growth.
Absolutely.
Is that interaction conversion rate.
Interaction conversion rate, yes.
Remind us what that is again. Well, it's basically looking at the percentage of searches or queries that actually result in, meaningful interactions.
Right, because the point of a platform is to facilitate those interactions.
That's it. Whether it's buying something, booking a service, finding a date, consuming content.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
So, back to our handmade marketplace.
Yeah.
We're tracking, how many people are browsing for hand-knitted scarves.
Right.
And actually making a purchase.
Exactly. And the key is to make that process as smooth and frictionless as possible.
No barriers.
No barriers.
And the book talks about how Airbnb discovered that listings with professional photos had much higher booking rates.
They did. And so they actually started offering professional photography services to their hosts.
That's smart.
Which was a win-win for everyone.
And that's such a great example of using data to improve.
Right.
And then this was interesting. Airbnb also noticed.
What's that?
That a lot of their best hosts were actually former guests.
That's fascinating.
So they realized they could encourage this.
This transition.
Yeah, turning consumers into producers.
From one side to the other.
And so this is where we get to this metric called the side switching rate.
Side switching rate, yes.
So what is side switching?
It's basically tracking how many users make that leap from one side of the platform to the other.
Like in Airbnb's case, guests becoming hosts.
Exactly. But it could also be readers becoming writers on a blog.
Right.
Or shoppers opening their own stores.
Okay, and that's a really interesting way to look at how healthy a platform is.
It's about understanding the dynamics.
Yeah, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Liquidity, matching quality, trust, user balance, lifetime value.
All important stuff.
Conversion rates, side switching.
It's a lot to keep track of.
It is. It's a lot to keep track of.
And it gets even more complicated as platforms mature.
Right, because in the maturity phase, it's all about staying ahead of the curve and constantly innovating.
You can't just rest on your laurels.
So let's imagine, that our platform has made it through those early stages.
It's established.
It's growing. It's got this loyal user base.
That's great.
What metrics really matter now?
Well, at this point, innovation is key.
Okay.
Mature platforms have to adapt constantly to changing user needs, emerging technologies.
Right. And the competition.
And the competition, of course.
Which is fierce.
It's fierce out there.
And the book actually uses this example of Cisco.
The
networking giant.
Right.
And they have this platform that allows third-party developers to create applications for their routers. But how do they decide, what features to actually incorporate?
That's a good question.
From all this, external input.
Well, they look for patterns.
Okay.
If they see that multiple developers are creating similar types of functionalities, it's a pretty clear sign that maybe the platform is missing something.
So it's they're crowdsourcing.
Yeah, crowdsourcing innovation.
Using data.
Using data to drive their decisions.
That's really cool.
It is pretty cool.
And speaking of competition, remember when Apple launched Apple Maps kind of out of nowhere?
It did seem to come out of nowhere.
And the book suggests that this was probably a response to the huge popularity of Google Maps.
Yeah, they saw a threat.
A potential threat.
To their dominance.
Right. So they had to do something.
And they did.
It's like competition fuels innovation.
It does. It's a classic example.
So we've talked about all these different metrics.
Oh, a lot of them.
But the book really emphasizes that simplicity is key.
You don't want to get lost in a sea of data.
Because it's really easy to do that.
It is.
You can track every possible metric.
Yeah.
But then you don't know what's important.
You can't see the forest for the trees.
That's right.
Exactly.
And Eric Ries, who's the lean startup guru.
The guru.
He actually calls these misleading metrics vanity metrics.
Vanity metrics, yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds,
Sounds good in a board meeting.
Right.
But they don't actually provide
100%.
those actionable insights.
Okay, so how do we avoid that trap?
That's the question.
How do we design, truly smart metrics?
Well, Ries actually suggests focusing on metrics that meet what he calls the 3 A's test.
Okay, what's that?
So the metrics need to be actionable.
Okay.
Accessible and auditable.
Okay, so let's break that down a little bit.
Sure.
Actionable.
Actionable means that the data's got to give you clear insights
that
can inform your decisions. Right. If a metric isn't helping you, make your platform better.
Why are you even tracking it?
Exactly.
Waste of time.
So accessible.
Accessible means that the data should be easy to understand for everyone on your team.
Not just the data scientists.
Not just the data scientists.
Right. It's got to be for everyone.
Everyone needs to be able to understand it.
Yeah. Make it part of your company culture.
Exactly. Data-driven decisions.
And then auditable.
Auditable means the data's got to be based on solid, verifiable information.
No fuzzy math.
No fuzzy math. No wishful thinking.
It's got to be accurate.
It's got to be the real deal.
So these 3 principles.
Yes.
Actionable. Accessible.
That's right.
And auditable.
They're a good framework.
Really good framework.
For thinking about metrics.
But even with all of this, even with these principles, the book warns against what it calls the over-measurement trap.
The over-measurement trap.
What is that?
Well, it's the danger of tracking so many metrics.
Right.
That you just lose sight of what's actually important.
Like you have a dashboard with too many dials.
Too many dials and gauges.
You can't even see the road.
You're going to crash.
Yeah.
Like a bad situation.
Too much data can really paralyze you.
It can. It can lead to analysis paralysis and inaction.
You're just stuck.
You're just stuck.
And the book actually quotes this former CEO of Upwork.
Oh, yeah.
And he was tracking so many metrics.
He was obsessed.
And a board member said to him, you're over-measured and under-prioritized.
That's gotta hurt.
That's gotta hurt. So how do you find that balance between gathering enough data to make good decisions, but not drowning in it?
Yeah, well, that's where the art of metrics design comes in.
Okay.
It's about finding that handful of really key metrics that truly reflect the health of your platform.
And I know we've been talking a lot about the perspective of building a platform.
Building and managing.
But what about for the average user?
Right, because most people aren't building platforms.
Right, they're just using them.
They're just using them.
So what's the takeaway for them?
Well, when you understand how platforms measure success,
you
start to see the world through their eyes.
Okay, I like that.
You understand what they're trying to optimize,
right?
What behaviors they're trying to encourage, and how your actions kind of contribute to the whole ecosystem.
It's like you know the rules of the game.
Exactly.
You can play it better.
You can play it strategically.
Right. So, for example, let's say you're using a ride-hailing app.
Okay.
And you know that they track driver response times.
Right. That's a key metric.
So, it's important to be ready.
Be ready to go.
When your driver gets there.
Yeah. You're not just helping yourself.
Right.
You're helping the whole system.
Or, if you're using Airbnb, and they care a lot about user reviews.
They do.
It's important to leave those reviews.
Leave those reviews, good or bad.
Good or bad, yeah. Be honest.
Because you're helping to build trust.
You are?
And it makes it a better experience for everyone?
For everyone.
Or even, if you're on social media.
Oh, yeah. Social media is all about...
Right, they're tracking engagement.
Shares, comments.
Oh, that's all of it.
So when you see a post that you like...
Yeah.
Don't just scroll past it.
Engage.
Engage with it.
Engage with it.
You're not just giving that creator a little boost.
Right.
You're helping to increase the visibility.
You're making the platform
of that content
more valuable.
Yeah.
More engaging.
So even if you're not, building the platform,
right.
Understanding how they measure success can make you a better user.
A more informed user.
A more empowered user.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this has been
fun.
such an eye-opening exploration.
It really has.
Of this whole world of platform metrics.
That's a fascinating world.
It really is. Yeah. And, as these platforms change, the way they measure success will change, too.
It's a constantly evolving landscape.
It is. And before we wrap up,
yes,
I want to circle back to that question.
Oh, yes, the question.
We posed earlier, think about your favorite platform.
What is it?
What do you think they're tracking?
What do you think?
To keep you coming back.
Yeah.
What makes that platform work so well for you?
Yeah, what is it about that platform?
We want to hear your thoughts.
We do. Share them with us on social media.
Yeah. We're always up for good platform debate.
We are. It's one of our favorite things to talk about.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we'll wrap up our deep dive.
Sounds good.
Into platform metrics.
I'm ready.
So, we've been talking about how understanding those platform metrics can make us smarter users, right?
But it also kind of brings up some big questions,
Yeah.
About the future of these platforms.
Right, and their role in our lives.
Exactly.
It's not just about numbers and algorithms.
Right.
As these platforms get better at tracking us, we need to really think about how that data is being used.
So it's a question of,
it's about responsibility.
Responsibility and ethics.
Yeah.
Are they just trying to keep us
right.
glued to our screens, for profit?
To make more money.
Yeah.
Or are they actually trying to improve the user experience?
Create a better...
Yeah, a more equitable playing field.
Right, or a healthier digital ecosystem.
It's a tough question.
It is.
And there are no easy answers.
But the more we understand,
right.
As users, how these platforms work.
The metrics they use.
The algorithms.
The better equipped we are.
To hold them accountable.
Exactly.
And demand transparency.
From
these platforms.
Knowledge is power, right?
That's right.
And this whole deep dive into platform metrics has given us a lot to think about.
It really has.
We've uncovered those key metrics.
Right. From those early stage factors.
Like liquidity.
Liquidity.
Matching quality.
Yeah, matching quality.
Trust.
All the way to the more...
sophisticated metrics.
Yeah, the more sophisticated...
Like LTV.
Yeah, lifetime value.
Fine switching rates.
And we've learned about how to spot...
Right, those vanity metrics.
Those vanity metrics.
That don't really tell the whole story.
But the book brings us back to this, this fundamental truth. No matter how complex it gets, how many metrics you track.
Yeah.
The most important thing.
The most important.
Is user happiness.
That's it.
Are people actually getting value from the platform?
Are they having good experiences?
Right. Are they coming back?
If the answer is yes, the platform's doing something right.
The numbers are part of the story.
Right.
But it's really the human experience.
The human experience.
That matters.
That's what determines success.
So as we, continue to explore this world of platforms.
This crazy world of platforms. Let's keep all of this in mind, right?
Let's keep it in mind.
The metrics, the motivations, and let's use that knowledge to make good decisions.
Good decisions.
About how we interact with these platforms.
And let's not be afraid to ask those tough questions.
Nice.
Demand transparency.
Right.
And hold these platforms accountable.
To make a better digital world.
For everyone.
For all of us.
It's important.
Well, this has been
an amazing journey.
Such a fascinating deep dive.
Yeah, it has been.
Into the world of platform metrics.
It's a world unto itself.
It really is. So thanks for joining us.
We'll be back soon.
With another deep dive into a brand new topic.
We'll see you then. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning.
Keep those algorithms on their toes.
And we'll see you next time.